we now are learning via Time, some new reporting out yesterday, that particularly important figures who frankly helped pave the way for the entire FTX fraud were informed about specific allegations against Sam Bankman-Fried way back in April of 2018. And they helped shove it under the rug and in turn made it possible for Sam to continue growing his fraud. And the capper to all of this is that these same people wound up benefiting from having covered for Sam early on because they got funding through FTX. Specifically, the article from Time, frankly, I think the headline undersells it. 4 top Alameda executives in 2018 started organizing a meeting to confront Sam Bankman-Fried with misdeeds he had already committed by that point, including sleeping with subordinates, allegedly, and falsely claiming that he was the sole owner of Alameda in filing documents, pushing out other owners. So this is not just somebody got told that, in vague terms, Sam Bankman-Fried was a bad guy. This was a corporate attempt at Alameda to get rid of him early on because of his bad actions. And William McCaskill, the Oxford philosopher who's one of the heads of the Effective Altruism movement, apparently threatened people, allegedly, who were advancing these claims. And his name was used to bully them into silence because he was a supporter of Bankman-Fried. So we really have what looks to me like a pretty clear elite conspiracy led by figures at Oxford to backstop Bankman-Fried. Sorry, that's a lot to explain, but I want to make sure people understand just how serious and specific this is. Adam, you're giving me the most shocked responses in the camera, so I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we've seen with the crypto sector at numerous points is that there are significant opportunities for charismatic sociopaths who are willing to say and do whatever it takes in order to achieve their aims. The fact that they can then find themselves surrounded by people who are essentially in on it and at least complicit because they continue to benefit from it, that strikes me as being entirely consistent, both with the world of cryptocurrency and the broader sort of financial world at large. Again, like, we kind of look at, you know, like the amount of money that a person has as like a score in a video game, where it's like the higher your number, the smarter you are, right? And so then once you have that high number, then it's just sort of assumed that you're someone who's smart, who clearly has figured out how to make it, ergo you are somebody who should be influential. And it's kind of this backdoor way, you know, of somebody who doesn't really matter, but is willing to cheat and do whatever it takes to get that score up to then matter. You can look at politicians and see the same thing. Many of them go in without really much money to their name, and they'll come out 10 or 15 years later as some of the richest people in the country. It's not because of what they're getting paid. There's something else that's going on there. But this, again, is unfortunate, but seems entirely consistent. And once again, is a reminder that to the extent that you find yourself in the company of charismatic sociopaths who seem like they're willing to do whatever it takes in order to get what they want, that may have some short-term advantages for you, but probably it's not a good long-term decision. Zach, kick it over to you.
I think the whole
Can I just jump in?
Yeah,
because
you
it's
got
so
it.
ironic. Sorry, it's so ironic that you make the point that this is not a long-term good decision, and the entire point of effective altruism is to think about the far future instead of the present. Sorry, just wanted to flag that.
It's a good fig leaf. I mean, like, if you're gonna go all in on this type of thing, why wouldn't you use the most absolutely gallingly, you know, like hypocritical way to possibly do it, right? Like, that's the joke of the whole thing. Anyway, sorry, Zach, over to you.
I was going to say, like, I think the EA as sort of this undergirding idea of the whole FTX empire was really key to its ascent, right? I think crypto is often sort of accused of being nihilistic, right? It doesn't really mean anything. Most of these coins don't really mean anything. The real world impact to date is fairly limited, and yet there are these atrocious sums of money being reaped in by many people every single day. So to have EA sort of giving a moral backbone in this instance to the ascent of the FTX story, and then seeing it sort of all blow up in their faces, really with all these revelations that have come to light with Sam Bankman-Fried, who had become in the popular imagination sort of the figurehead of this movement, despite some of the earlier work that had been put in by these actual scholars. I mean, the whole thing just adds to another sort of degree of richness to the rise and fall that is captured in the SBF, XTX, and FTX saga, right? So this whole thing, I think, is important to understand because EA did sort of provide that intellectual veneer to FTX and specifically Alameda, which was, hey, we're making as much money as possible. Oh, wait, no, there is this sort of moral imperative buried underneath it. It's called EA. Learn about it, right? And it is kind of disheartening and a bit sad, honestly, that was one of the many lies that are alleged to have taken place over the years with SBF and FTX, was that there was some moral core, when the more we learn, the more it suggests that that's not the case. David, I'm tossing it to you.
Yeah. And to remind people who might have missed it or forgotten at this point, there was also the infamous Twitter DM exchange with a reporter, I believe from Motherboard at Vice, where Bankman-Fried essentially admitted that the entire effective altruism thing was designed to distract people. And also in the news in the past couple of days, to add to this, we learned that Bankman-Fried, and I didn't see specifics about, what the line items were, how much of this was salary and how much might have been other things, but he was paid $2.2 billion by FTX, and that's come out in the bankruptcy process, which, remember, again, you have to keep these numbers in mind to remember exactly how insane the behavior was. The entire market cap of FTX at its peak, and correct me if I'm missing this, but I believe it was $10 billion. That was the enterprise value total of FTX. And so not only did he get paid this $2.2 billion, that was like a quarter of the entire value of the supposed company, but he had also taken loans of multiple billions of dollars. So this was all just rampant extraction from the company going on right under the noses of a board that didn't exist because the venture capitalists decided that this guy didn't need any oversight. So, when you start talking, there's just so much bad behavior going on everywhere. But anyway, Adam, stop me before I kill again.
Well, I mean, the thing that I'm most curious about at this point, honestly, is we are hearing so many allegations. I really, really, really want to watch this go to court. I really, really want to see kind of this before a jury with evidence presented in ways that it can actually be validated or not. Because as it stands right now, I don't know what to believe about all of this stuff. All I know is that there is a gigantic mess there with some degree of what appears to be fraud. But outside of that, everything is just kind of like he said, she said between the new management and the old management. So again, that October case date, man, I'm really, really looking forward to that and thinking that that's going to be full of fireworks. But I think we can.
I'm hitting the gym. I'm getting in shape. I'm getting ready.
Exactly.